So when we developed the bamboo spatula for Kintsugi use, we have actually tried various types of bamboo treatments and shapes and sizes and the flexibility, the thickness. And in the end, we landed with three basic form or three basic shape, which you can find in our store. And these are definitely flexible and very, very useful, and they will last forever if you take good care of them. They're very beautifully carved, and each one is handmade. So when you first got these spatulas, you may find it a little bit too hard. It's not as flexible or bendable as some of the ones that we used in the video as a demo. You know, like something like this is very bendable. The reason is we realize everybody has different kind of a hand pressure. You know, you have your own very unique practice and gestural manners. So if we make everything the same thinness, some of you who are more heavy-handed may break the tools easily. So we figured, actually, since, you know, we encourage everybody to make their own tools, maybe you should adjust your own spatula to the shape and thickness that fits your practice, whether you're a heavy-handed person or you're a very kind of a light-handed person that do very small, delicate work. And in this video, we're gonna quickly show you how you can do it for those who feel, you know, a little bit insecure, don't want to damage the tools, or you may not feel as confident or handy. It's actually really, really simple. It takes probably, you know, less than 10 minutes to fix your tools. And I hope you have fun adjusting your own tools and make them uniquely yours based on your practice. So what you would need would be sharp knife, you know, something small like this, or like a small Swiss Army knife would do. And if you want to use, you know, one of these kind of a hobby blades cutter, if you want to use one of these cutter, make sure you use the one that the blade is a little more stable, so you won't accidentally hurt yourself so easily. But knives are, you know, Swiss Army knives, small, you know, crafts knives are the best because they are sturdy and stable. So what you would want to do is, when you first got your spatula, especially I think everybody wants to use the pointy one, the pointy tip. This is rather simple, so it's not much to show, but I mean, visually, if you see it as a demo, it will make a lot more sense for you. So you just, you know, put some pressure on it and carefully kind of skin your spatula. So if you, and you can totally feel free to do however you want it. You know, somebody may want this portion, you know, the base portion to be chunkier, that can handle a little more pressure. Some people may only want your tip, you know, only the tip part to be thinner, so you can just, you know, when you press, you would just bend the tip. So it's really, really up to you. Make a decision first, you know, strategize first on which part do you want to be more thin and flexible. So for me, I would like my curved part, you know, like, how do we show it? I would want the curved part here, which I feel like this is the part I will use the most as, you know, pressing. So maybe I will carve this thinner from the edge, from the curve, and then all the way to the tip. So it's really up to you. So to do that, you just do it little by little. If you cut too deep, you may ended up having an uneven surface that, you know, is kind of bumpy, which is fine. It's fixable, so it's really easy and flexible. So don't be too afraid. Just do it little by little. And the sharper your knife is, the easier the cut and the less chance of hurting yourself or injuring yourself. So that's pretty much it. And if you feel like, oh, my cut is not as pretty, it's kind of bumpy, jumpy. So what you need to do is cut some small strips of sandpaper and just sand it down. And then you can get it very, very clean and even and flat. For those who doesn't feel comfortable using knives, you can literally do the whole thing with sandpaper. Just get the right sandpaper, start with something a little more coarse, maybe like 150 or something, and cut a small piece of wood or eraser. Wrap your small strips of sandpaper around it, and this is the one I'm working on. Wait, which one? This one. And then just keep sanding until you get the right thickness that you want. So that's more like the safest way for those who doesn't feel comfortable handling, sharp knives and stuff. And this actually gives you very good control as well. And if you want to take down the edges as well, that's also a good tool to use instead of cutting. Some people, may want it to be very sharp, triangle-ish kind of a shape. And ours, we make them a little more wider and fat. So for those who want to use it as a scoop, you get a wider surface. But if you want to trim them to be sharper, kind of a skinnier triangle, yeah, that's the way to do it. So you can also sand it down. The quicker way is to just trim it with your knife. And this whole thing takes, maybe about 10 minutes, and then you can get it relatively thin. So this is already much more flexible than the original one that we ship you. So that's it. That's how you do it. Just sandpaper, some sharp knives, Swiss Army knives or box cutter, and have fun. Another thing we recommend is they come in set of 3, like something like this. So one thing we want to mention is one of the tool was a back bend of bamboo. The strongest and toughest part of bamboo, the most durable part of bamboo, is actually the skin, which is this side, the smoother side. So the easier fibrous side for trimming and cutting is actually, the inside of bamboo. Inside of bamboo, obviously, I don't think you need much explanation. The glossy, smooth side is actually the skin of the bamboo. It's kind of like tree bark, the outside skin. And that's the durable and hard part that you want to maintain and keep. The inside of the bamboo is the fibrous part, and this is the part where you want to do all your trimming and sanding, because these are the areas that is much softer and easier to trim, to shape. So however, one of our tools is actually a back bend of the bamboo, because we want to keep the smooth surface on as the usable surface, and then back bending it makes it actually much more durable. It's just a little more work on the maker's side when we make them. So if you want to trim this one to make it more flexible, don't trim the skin side. Trim this side where you see all the fibers, all the lines. Or if you want to cut it with knife, same thing. You can kind of sand it down to however thin you want it, but don't do it on the skin side. Do it on the fibrous side. And one recommendation we have is, because one of the tool actually is double-sided, it has the pointy side and then the flat side. Seems like we give you one more tool that has only, the flat side. So it's like kind of like duplicate. Why do I need two, We do encourage you to experiment and play with it, make one of them thinner, more flexible, or you can actually trim it so that you get an angle. It makes, you're scraping, because if it's kind of flat, you can only use the flat side, but if you do it at an angle, like those plastic spatulas, so you can actually have a different tools. Depending on if you're right-handed or left-handed, that's how you would trim your angle. So that's a little bit of a fun and flexibility that we incorporate into the tools, so you can adjust your own tools. So have fun.